Yo, what's up, guys? In this video, honestly, I'm pretty hyped about this one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think this is one of my more detailed videos. This one might be a long one. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It might be a long one, and reason why is because there's just a lot to get into on this one, guys. All right. This was a buyer that was referred over to me from a lender, right? After interviewing a couple agents, he ended up picking me to help him find his house, right? He had an idea of what he wanted. He knew he wanted a condo. He knew that, he had his mindset on that. He wanted a townhouse. He didn't really want a garden style, but he was open to anywhere and everywhere, right? He was open to a bunch of different cities. Like, that didn't really matter to him at that time, right? So he was open to any city, but he was hyper focused on townhouse, and he was, for the most part, pretty picky, right? He was picky in the sense of, like, it had to have like certain stuff, it had to have a certain layout, where he didn't mind that it was, townhouse, 2 floors, that type of thing, but the space and how everything was distributed, it had to make sense for him, right? And I say that to say this: we saw a lot of condos, like a lot, and the reason why is, we had submitted a couple offers, but it was one of those, like, we just weren't getting anything accepted, right? He was very, what's the right word? He was very conscious of how much he was willing to spend, right? He didn't want to get in bidding wars. He didn't want to offer crazy over asking price. So he was very mindful of that, right? Come to think of it, I remember seeing a single family house, and this was when he decided to just focus in on condos, right? This was way early on in the process. And the reason why I remember is because I actually drove by that street the other day, and so it was a single family house within his budget, what he was willing to spend, but it was really a moment for us to realize, like, all right, what is it that we're looking for? Because that house, while it was within his budget, just the amount of work that he needed to put into that house. His dad was a contractor, or is a contractor at that time, and like, he knew a thing or two about renovating. Like, he's renovated his own house and stuff like that. Like, he was a tradesman. He was willing to help him out and stuff like that, but it was more of a consultation of, like, all right, what makes sense? And when we went to go see this house, guys, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, believe me when I tell you this, it needed a new roof. It had algae growing on both sides of the roof. It needed complete gut and reno. Water was coming into the basement. Like, it was a mess. His dad told him he probably have to spend anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 at that time. We're talking back 7-8 years ago, right? And it really put it into perspective for him, though, of like, all right, if this is my budget, like, I don't want to push past this. This is where I'm at. Like, I gotta hone in on something, right? So that moment, and I just smiled when I passed by the street and I saw the name, like that, like the street sign. I just, like, I smiled, because reminiscing and remembering what it was like. I was like, yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing that house. So, but I say that to say this. That moment really made him realize, like, all right, this is what I'm looking for, right? This is what I want. So cut to the condo that we ended up submitting an offer and getting an accepted offer on. The home was owned by an older woman, right? Space was completely cluttered. Like, she had a bunch of stuff, not even exaggerating. Like, it was 2 floors plus the downstairs garage / like half finished area. She, like, all 3 floors was just full of stuff, completely full of stuff. Just to get through the showing, like, we had to, like, kind of like sidestep and maneuver through things, right? As you can imagine, when a house has that much stuff, it's hard to move all of that before the closing, right? But we had put in the contract, sorry guys, we had put in the contract that we wanted all of that stuff removed. Right? We wanted the exact wording was property to be free and clear of personal belongings, debris, property to be in broom swept condition, free of all belongings, personal belongings, and all that type of stuff, right? Was in the contract. So at the final walkthrough, there was still some stuff, and it needed to be removed because the contract said so, right? Made sure to put that on there because I had to protect my buyer, and we had a conversation about that, like, yo, this has to get done, right? And my buyer, he would not sign until that seller took out everything, right? So lo and behold, like, the closing had to be delayed an extra day because she needed the extra time to get rid of everything. Like, I guess she didn't understand, like, I guess maybe it was just so much stuff, give benefit of the doubt, but she ended up having to push the closing an extra day, getting some people out there to remove all of that for her, or else the buyer just wasn't gonna sign, right? So I say all that to say this: the contract is so important, guys, right? You have to make sure that the contract has everything written out in detail, right? We were fortunate enough to put in there precisely, again, that might be kind of muffing up the words, right? But it was somewhere along the lines of, the property needs to be in broom swept condition, free of all personal belongings. And what that meant was everything had to be taken out in the whole property, and in broom swept condition meant, that there wasn't, dirt thrown all over the place. There wasn't, Pokemon cards on the floor or anything like that. It had to be, broom swept at the very least, right? And so, again, the more details and the more you put in the contract, the better it is for you at the end, guys. Make sure that the contract is detailed, like everything that you need and want in that purchase. Just make sure it's on there because it does mean a lot, right? When the buyer goes back and says, hey, we agreed on this, the seller could be like, oh, you're right, like, we did, like, I do have to do that. Or the attorneys can give pushback and stuff like that, At the end of the day, a contract, if it's signed, while it's, I'm not an attorney, it's not completely enforceable, but at least they can go back and be like, you know what, we did actually agree to that, you're right, instead of he said, she said type of thing. Everything's laid out and everybody is on the same page, right? Along with the agents and everything, right? Because the last thing that we want as real estate agents is to be stuck in the middle of, well, my buyer said this or your seller said that, and we're just in the middle of like, so what do we do? Like, let's just get this deal done. So with that contract, having everything, laid out in detail, it just goes to show, like, all right, this is what has to get done. All right. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments if you guys have run into any kind of issues like that with contracts or going back and forth and stuff like that. Like, I'd love to know, honestly. This was one of those unique experiences where it's like, at the time, like, my thoughts was just like, this is important. This is important. So let me know if you guys have run into any kind of issues similar to that. Subscribe, drop a like, help your boy out. But other than that, guys, I'll see y'all in the next video. All right, take care.